This video will show you how to put together this pergola made by Mirador.
So we'll take you through all the steps of assembling and raising this louvered pergola. So let's get started. Before you put one of these up in your yard, you might want to check with the local building codes. Here in Tacoma, a permit was not required because this pergola is under 200 square feet, but it's still required that it be put in a backyard, not too close to property lines. We even called the city's permit office just to make sure. This particular pergola comes in 4 boxes, and they range in weight from just over 80 pounds to nearly 130. They are under 8 feet long, so they did fit in the back of my truck with no problems. If you're following the instruction book, you can open them in their numerical order. For a quick overview, box 1 contains the legs, and the instruction book was tucked between them, as well as a neatly packed box full of all the hardware you'll need to assemble the pergola. And here you can see all the contents of the hardware box neatly spread out, and the anchor bolts and some Allen keys are still at the bottom of the box. Box 2 contains the side and end beams, as well as the crank for the louvers, and these flat bars to connect all the louvers together. Boxes 3 and 4, which are the heavy ones, contain all of the louvers. We began step 1 by removing the legs from the box, and the lid flattened out on the ground, provided a good surface to place them without getting scratched. And you'll notice that all these parts are nicely labeled, in this case A, because all the legs are identical. Next, we located the footplate cover and the footplate from the hardware box, as well as the screws used to secure them, which are in the bag labeled O, with one of the legs on top of the remaining boxes as a work platform and the little semicircular notch facing up. We slid on the footplate cover with the hollow end facing the bottom of this leg. On the footplate, you'll notice that the screw holes are countersunk on one side and not on the other. You'll want the countersunk sides facing out. Then, with that cluster of 3 screw holes on the bottom right, line up the holes and drive in the screws. And for this step, it's really handy to adjust the torque setting on your drill or your driver so that it drives them in nice and firmly, but not so much that you're stripping out the top of the screw. And I'd recommend leaving the first few screws a bit loose so that you can align the other holes with no problem. Then you can go back and drive them in firmly, making sure that the heads are at the very least flush with the bottom of that plate, if not sunken in a little bit. And yes, these last 2 screw holes remain unused, at least in our version. Once you've done this for all 4 of the legs, you're done with step 1. And at this point, we put them out in the lawn to make room for step 2. Once we unpacked box number 2, we can start assembling the side beams, which form the long sides of the pergola. The beams are wrapped in pairs, and it's easy enough to tear off this cardboard on the ends rather than using a box knife, which could easily scratch the surface. And here are all the parts from box 2 laid out. It includes these connecting strips, which are used to couple all the louvers together, and this crank, which you use to adjust the positions of the louvers. The beams with a C on them are the end beams, and we'll get to those later. To start, locate beams B and B1. And here you'll probably note that B has a small box on the side, and that is a gearbox to turn the louvers. Here we laid out 2 flattened cardboard boxes end to end to accommodate the length of the beams. Here we're putting down beams B and B1. From there, simply slide that smaller end of B1 into B. With the screws from bag R, which look like this, drive 4 of them into the empty screw holes, being careful not to over tighten them because these can strip out pretty easily. And you may need a long bit or an extension to drive them in next to this lip. And this is what it should look like when the beam is assembled. Now locate the tube of silicone, which is labeled Z3, and use the cap to pierce the seal of the tube. Then screw on the nozzle and cut off a bit of the tip so that you have about a 1/8 inch opening. Now find the bag labeled U3, which has 2 small pieces of channel in it. Here's how the channel fits in here, which is actually the gutter to collect rainwater from the louvers. And that's why we need to make sure that this joint between the beams is waterproof. And to do that, the instructions show to make 5 neat parallel lines of the sealant in the gutter, but because it's kind of hard to get in there, you can see ours didn't come out so perfectly. But that doesn't really matter so long as there's enough to make this waterproof. Finally, it instructs putting a bead of silicone around the perimeter of that small piece of channel. And that's the first one installed. Now we want to loosen off these bolts on either end of the beam, which secure two pieces of metal called slot nuts. And that's because they slot into the interior channels of the legs. And we'll want them loose enough so that that gap there can accommodate the thickness of the top of these channels. So dig down to the bottom of that hardware box to locate the two larger Allen keys, and use these to loosen off those slot nuts. Now we repeat the same process for the other side beam made up of parts B2 and B3. So slide them together, secure them with the 4 screws, install that small piece of channel using the silicone, and loosen off the bolts holding the slot nuts on either end. This is in part 3 of the instructions, but we took the opportunity to loosen off the bolts on the 2 end beams, which are each labeled part C. And because it was hot today, we actually skipped ahead to part 6, where we assemble the louvers so that we could stay in the shade of the garage. But here we'll stay in the order of the instructions. Again, we're using the flattened cardboard boxes to protect all our pieces as we assemble them. So here we have one of the side beams and 2 legs ready to assemble. Again, these slot nuts will go into the channels of the leg, so line them up and slide them together, with the end beam and the leg firmly pushed together so that the end beam fully fills that notch in the leg. Use that large Allen key and tighten down those bolts, which will pull those slot nuts tight. And make sure to crank them down hard using that long end of the Allen key for extra leverage. Once you repeat this on the other end, you have one side assembled. Here, Steve is doing a test lift, and we were both surprised by how rigid and light it was. Finally, we repeated the same process for the remaining legs and the other side beam. And when you're pushing these together, you really want to make sure that that leg is perpendicular to the side beam, so that those slot nuts are going straight into those channels. So that should be both long sides of the pergola assembled. So on our short end beams, we already have the slot nuts on either end loosened. To prepare this for assembly, we're lifting up and moving this side of the pergola, which does not have the gearbox on it, to lean up against the side of the house. And this is in lieu of another person because the instructions suggest having 4 people to do this step, and we'll only have 3. Next, we measured from the foot of that side and put a piece of tape down to help us locate the other side once we have held it up. In our case, it's about 92 inches. From there, we tilted up the second side and moved the feet to line up with the pieces of tape. So if we did everything correctly, they should be spaced just perfectly for that end beam to fit. This part proved to be pretty easy with 2 people on ladders and another holding that free side. The only tricky part was trying to get both ends to slide in at the same time. Because if one end were in all the way first, the other might get jammed up because that end beam would be at an angle. With that first end beam in place, we used the larger Allen keys to tighten up all the bolts that secure those slot nuts. And we were surprised to see how stable the structure was already with only 3 sides. But it didn't take us long to move the ladders and slide in that second end piece.
Down, 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 down. All right.
And of course, we tightened all the bolts on this side as well. Moving this thing would definitely have been easier with 4 people, but we just made sure to have a piece of cardboard underneath that unattended leg so that it wouldn't get scratched up on the concrete. To make sure everything is as straight and level as possible, pick one of the legs or pillars and put a level, preferably a long one, on one of the inside faces. Then adjust the position of the leg to make that bubble level, and then switch to the other interface of that leg and repeat the process. Once that second side is level,
Ooh, that looks good, huh?
check the other side again because it has undoubtedly moved. Keep switching until both sides read level without making any further adjustments. From an interface of that first pillar, measure the distance to the interface of an adjacent pillar. For this pergola, that distance should be 7.9 feet, which is about 94 3/4 of an inch. Next, we measured from that first pillar to the adjacent one on the long side. For this pergola, that should be 13.6 feet, which is about 163.25 inches. Then we did the same thing between the second short side and the second long side. Finally, we checked the two diagonals, which for this pergola should be 15.8 feet, which is about 189 5/8 of an inch. With that, we were satisfied. And just in case, we put some tape at the feet in the event we move it while installing the louvers. If you're not working with a relatively flat and level area like we are, you may not be able to get your columns level, and you'll have to do more work to make a good foundation. Now find the crank coupler in the box of hardware, and then remove the screw from the shaft, which is called the crank connector, coming out of the gearbox. Note that the coupler has a countersunk hole for the screw on one side, so once you line up that hole with the hole in the connector, drive in that screw. Here is the top of the crank, and those two little nubs engage with some channels inside the connector, so you can push it up, rotate it a quarter turn, and settle it down like that. And of course, we had to test it out. Not that there are any louvers to move yet. All the louvers are in boxes 3 and 4, and they're bundled in pairs. But first, we're going to assemble the driving louver. This requires the louver end cap with control arm, part L, which is secured in the lid from the box of hardware. You'll also need the screws, which are in bag Q, which are used on all the louver end caps. With the knob on the control arm facing the rest of the louver, slide the end cap into position, and then secure it with 2 of the screws. Here you can see that the control arm does move around. Back at the box of hardware, there's a tray full of the louver end caps. We placed a stack of these on either end of the louvers and also divided the screws into 2 little containers. With the louver in this position, the end cap wants to go on like this, but you can see it prefers to swing around like that. So we found it easiest to flip the louvers over so that the label is facing up, and like that, the end cap hangs in a position closer to the screw holes, which makes it much easier to secure it with the 2 screws. With 28 louvers total, this was of course a bit repetitive, but easy enough. So after about half an hour, we were done with both boxes and all 28 of the louvers. And don't be surprised if you have a couple end caps and screws left over. Back out at the pergola, use the smaller Allen key to remove this bolt and washer from the drive shaft of the gearbox, because we're about to fit that driving louver, which by the way goes on this second shaft support bracket, not the first. And that's the shaft it's supporting. With a ladder on either side, we carried the driving louver up and over the top of the pergola so we can put it into position. So it should look like this on either side. From there, maneuver the control arm so that you can fit it over the hexagonal drive shaft of the gearbox. Now secure it with that long bolt and washer, tightening it with the small Allen key. And a quick turn of the crank shows how this thing moves.
All right, that's pretty cool.
These louvers look the same on both sides to us, so it took us a while to realize that we should just put them up with the fins pointing down. And from there, it went pretty quickly. By the end, you should have a solid roof with each louver overlapping the next. So now we need to secure each end of each louver with these small pieces of metal called shaft support covers. And they're secured with the screws in bag P, which we have divided into 2 containers so that each of us can work on a separate side of the pergola. Once you're up top, place one of these covers on each shaft support bracket, making sure the countersunk side is face up, and then secure them with 2 screws. I found it quickest to put a few of these plates out and start the screws by hand, and then in one pass with the drill, tighten all the screws. Once those are all done, it's time to install the connecting strips, which couple all the louvers together. And these are secured to the louvers with these cotter pins from bag S. These connecting strips attach to the louvers on the gearbox side of the pergola. And you simply put that small nub on each louver through a hole in the connecting strip, and then secure it with a cotter pin going through a small hole in that nub. And you can just go 1 louver at a time because it's hard to keep them in without the cotter pins securing them.
Oh.
The second connecting rod overlaps the first by 2 louvers, so slide that over and secure it with the cotter pins as usual. Once you're all done, you can test out the action of the louvers. And that is pretty satisfying. The last assembly step is simply installing one of these pillar covers on each pillar or leg. This one you see here is special because it has the Mirador name on it, but the other 3 are just flat. Each one takes 3 screws from the bag labeled R. Finally, we removed all the stickers from the louvers just so they wouldn't get baked on by the sun. To keep these foot plate covers out of the way, you can use a clamp, but I'd recommend putting it above head level just so you don't bonk into it. The masonry drill bit that comes with the kit is SDS style, which means you'll need to load it into a rotary hammer. And if you're like me, you may have thought that's the same as a hammer drill, but it's not. A rotary hammer is much more powerful. Then make sure it's on hammer and drill mode. And given the size of the tool and how close that hole is to the leg, it felt pretty hard to make the hole go straight down. So we just did the best we could. We didn't want to scratch up the leg with the rotary hammer, so we wrapped it in a piece of cardboard. And when you're drilling these holes, make sure to use the full length of the drill bit. So push the chuck of that rotary hammer all the way into the plate. And to keep the hole clear for the anchor bolt, we vacuumed up all the dust. Setting the anchor bolts is easy. Pound 1 into each hole, and tighten the bolt with a wrench or a ratchet with a 13mm socket. Then remove the cardboard and the clamp, and put that footplate cover back in place. And with all 16 bolts in, that's the pergola installed. We were really impressed with the quality of this kit, and we were able to put it all up in one day, though we did anchor it to the ground about a month later when Steve was happy with where it was.
So if you like videos like this, you might like this one here.